Your support helps us bring you programs you love. Go to wyomingpbs.org, click on Support, and become a sustaining member or an annual member. It's easy and secure. Thank you.
The mission of the Airmen at F.E. Warren Air Force Base in Cheyenne includes protection and maintenance of 15 missile alert facilities and 150 Minuteman III intercontinental ballistic missiles, always on constant 24-hour alert throughout a 9,600 square mile area. The team is always prepared to launch the land-based component of the country's nuclear triad. The men and women of F.E. Warren Air Force Base, next on Wyoming Chronicle.
Funding for this program was provided by the members of the Wyoming PBS Foundation. Thank you for your support.
We lead off our discussion on F.E. Warren Air Force Base with comments from Major General Ferdinand Fred B. Stoss III. General Stoss is Commander, 20th Air Force Global Strike Command, Francis E. Warren Air Force Base, Wyoming. General Stoss is responsible for over 12,000 people for the nation's Intercontinental Ballistic Missile Force, organized into 3 operational wings. In addition, General Stoss oversees the 377th Air Base Wing at Kirtland Air Force Base, New Mexico, which provides critical support to the nuclear operation and missile tech partners.
I'm Major General Fred Stoss, Commander of 20th Air Force. 20th Air Force is a command comprised of several wings, to include 3 missile wings. The 3 missile wings are headquartered in Great Falls, Montana, Minot, North Dakota, and the 90th Missile Wing here in F.E. Warren Air Force Base in Cheyenne, Wyoming. 20th Air Force has been assigned to F.E. Warren Air Force Base since 1993. The mission of 20th Air Force is to provide lethal, safe, and sure long-range precision strike fires. The missile aspect of this base started in the late 1950s with deployment of the Atlas D ICBM. F.E. Warren Air Force Base was the headquarters for the 5th of 6 Minuteman wings that began in 1963 with activation of the 90th Strategic Missile Wing. The men and women of 20th Air Force provide the nation with long-range precision strike nuclear capabilities as we operate, maintain, secure, and support the powerful Minuteman III weapon system. The Minuteman III weapon system is powerful, accurate, and reliable. This capability ensures that our enemies are deterred and that our friends and partners are assured. The ICBM force provides the bulk of America's day-to-day alert force and is the most responsive and stabilizing leg of the nuclear triad.
With unprecedented access, our crews entered the elevator and descended into an active nuclear launch capsule. It's from this capsule and dozens of others exactly like it spread across the western United States that the Air Force's nuclear and missile operations officers, more casually known as missileers, monitor and control our country's collection of 400 nuclear-capable intercontinental ballistic missiles. At the very front lines, with cameras approved in advance by the Air Force, we met 2 of the very talented officers, also known as missileers.
Hello, I am Lieutenant Janet Neufeld, and I am originally from Bangkok, Thailand.
Hi, I'm First Lieutenant Tanner Faulkner, and I'm originally from Newalla, Oklahoma. And welcome to Alpha Launch Control Center here in the 319th Missile Squadron at F.E. Warren, Wyoming.
And this control center is well below ground. In fact, it's nuclear fortified.
That's correct.
What happens here?
So, sir, in our Launch Control Center, we are able to control our missiles. So we do all of our communications and all of our control from the side.
So essentially what we have is, this is what we call our REACT console, so short for Rapid Execution and Combat Targeting. From this console, we are able to monitor up to 50 LFs or 50 sites with nuclear weapons in them at a single time.
You train often. What's involved in your training?
In our training, we actually have simulators at base that look exactly like the capsule. So we have everything from our console area to all of our comm equipment. And that's where we do our monthly training so that we're current on procedures that we need to know.
When you enter in this space, the first thing that you think about is, am I in the 60s? I mean, this doesn't look like modern technology to me.
That is correct. That is sort of one of the challenges that we face is this technology is a little bit older, but because it's a little bit older, it kind of increases our security and being able to control and help with cybersecurity threats. It's always a growing area that we worry about, but one of the things I've heard is security through antiquity. So we use the older equipment and it helps us, but it does make it a unique challenge because we have to adapt to that changing technology.
You have an awesome responsibility, and I'm sure you both thought about that. What did you think about before you came here relative to what it is that you're doing now?
So prior to being a missile leader, before I even commissioned, I honestly didn't know too much about nuclear missiles. It wasn't until I actually went to technical training in Vandenberg Air Force Base that I learned more about it. And I was truly inspired by my instructors, by my peers. And now that I'm here actually operating, truly proud to be able to be part of this mission.
What were you thinking before you came here?
Well, I actually had a very similar experience to Lieutenant Neufeld, where the only thing I knew about, when it came to nuclear weapons is what you hear in the movies, what you see in the movies. And also, we have used nuclear weapons, of course, in the past, on August 6, 1945. And it wasn't until I had a first meeting with one of the squadron commanders that really drove home the importance of you are taking responsibilities for some of the nation's most important and dangerous weapons that they have. And it was a very humbling moment for me to understand, wow, I'm going to be responsible for these weapons, but it's an awesome experience and it's great.
I read this when somebody described what you do. They said, the truth is the job is an awesome responsibility, but it's also deeply weird. Would you agree with that?
I can agree, sir. I think it's unique in a sense where we're spending 24 hours here. We're just us two crewed together. So it is different than most career fields where you have a lot of responsibility. You have to alter your life to be able to keep up with the schedule and everything that we are required to do.
Yeah, it must be different than when you signed up to be in the Air Force as to what you're doing now. Is that accurate to say?
That is accurate. So because we're operators, we constantly have to adapt and be flexible to different situations, whether it's maintenance issues that we might be having or communication troubleshooting that we might have to do versus just a normal 9-to-5 job, where you come in at 9, you're ready to leave at 5 versus here, we are constantly on alert 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365. And that communication back and forth between crews and maintenance and security forces is huge.
So oftentimes you get alarms and you have to respond. Do you know what's drill and what isn't? Do you have that information right up front? Or do you start through procedures and you're not sure?
So we have different types of alarms. We do receive critical alarms, in which are alarms that we should focus on as a priority. However, the best thing to do for us is just to look on the console and see what is going on. Because we'll get a fault on there, or we'll be able to see the status of the launch facility.
And once you practice launch sequences, I assume often.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And do you ever get to the point where you don't know whether this is real or not, or do you always know?
We are always sure which message we are getting. And that's like Lieutenant Neufeld was talking about, how we constantly train. We're constantly making sure that we're up on our efficiency and understanding what messages are essentially real, what's the real deal, and what is not. So when that moment comes when we need to execute, we are 100% ready to go with full efficiency and ultimately full without.
But you must have trust for one another.
Yes.
Total trust?
I totally trust him. I do.
Yes, that is it. So that's why we do everything in pairs. Even down to between the capsules, everything has to be done in pairs.
And that's a good point, because you two by yourself, even if you get a valid launch signal, you can't launch a nuclear weapon here. There's another capsule that also has to work in concert with you. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yes, we have to have those who we call launch boats. So both if we have to key turn or execute on a launch command, both myself and Lieutenant Neufeld will key turn at the same time, while also in tandem we need another capsule in the 319th to key turn with us as well. That's part of those redundancies that we use to make sure that we are executing, we are for sure executing.
Are you always in Alpha? Do you go to other capsules too? Or does it depend on the day, or are you always assigned here?
So it just alternates. To come to Alpha, since it is a squadron command post, you have to be qualified to come to the command post. However, it just changes. You can go to Bravo one day, Echo one day, so on.
Are you to a team?
So we are not what we would call an integral pair or integral crew. So usually we try to have people go out with the same crews. That way we can keep that continuity. But it's also good. It's a good way to, if you get out with newer people, then you learn different things. You learn different habits, different personalities, and that's good because you never know who you're going to be going out with on any certain day.
And between a crew, usually there's a crew commander and a deputy. So in this case, Lieutenant Faulkner is my commander and I'm the deputy. And usually the commander is more experienced, has more knowledge, so they kind of look out for the deputies and give them any help or information if they have questions.
Would you describe this job as monotonous, exciting, somewhere in between? How would you describe this?
I would definitely say it's a little in between. So sure, we're on alert 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Sometimes during 3 o'clock at night, it can be very quiet. There's not a lot going on, so we will either be studying our knowledge here in the capsule. We have tons of books, as you can see. We have very large binders
Checklists.
that are checklists that we constantly have to brush up on. But also, it's encouraged that we pursue further education. So, for myself, I'm pursuing a master's. So that is highly encouraged.
There are opportunities to relax, though, built into your schedules. How does one relax 70, 80 feet below the surface with the alarm maybe ringing in 10 minutes or in 3 hours?
So we have a lot of downtime if we're not having maintenance or any procedures that we have to run through. We get to know each other. A lot of crews just spend time talking to each other, getting to know one another. Also, some people bring out, like you said, their other study materials for their masters. I know some people who bring out puzzles or board games, so something to de-stress as well.
You train often. How do you know everything is in working order? How do you know that when the time comes, how do you prove that the system works? Do you do that as part of your training?
Yes. So as Lieutenant Neufeld was talking about, every month we practice and we practice and we practice. The other thing is we so a couple times a year at Vandenberg Air Force Base we have test launches, and those test launches are very important not only to us pulling the mission here, but it also ensures our allies and it also ensures basically our potential adversaries that these missiles do work, and we can be 100% confident that when we're going to key turn on these weapons, they will, and those test launches prove that.
So once you get an emergency action message, what happens?
So essentially, once we receive an emergency action message, we both process them together, but also individually, so that we are able to ensure that what we are receiving is authentic.
And without getting into classified details, how do you know?
So we have procedures in place that allow us to authenticate that if the president is wanting to execute a command with using nuclear weapons, we have procedures in place to authenticate that particular message. So we'll receive a message saying to execute, and we will independently authenticate and say this is in fact a real message, and then we will proceed forward with our execution checklist. So this is our authenticator, what we call our authenticator box. So in the event that we actually have to execute a launch command, both myself and Lieutenant Neufeld, we both have our own individual lock. So I have mine, she has hers. I don't know hers and she doesn't know mine. That's how we keep that sort of what we call a two-person control in order to ensure that I can't access them by myself and she can't access them by myself. And we use those, as I was talking about earlier, we use those authenticators to ensure that the message we are receiving is in fact an authentic message in order to execute a launch vote.
You both live in Wyoming. What do you do in Wyoming? What do you do when you're not down here?
So in my spare time, I like to spend time outside since we're underground here. I like to go to the park, go on walks. I've currently just started flight training, so I've been able to go on some flights and just spend some time outside. That's the main thing for me.
Yeah, the outdoor time and just the downtime we have is really important because it allows you to recharge batteries. And so for me, I like to go play golf, or both me and my wife like to go play golf, go fishing. We like to go check out the local parks and the local wildlife. It's really awesome.
Above ground, we often heard the term MAF, which stands for Missile Alert Facility. Below is where the Hardened Launch Control Center is that we just visited, but above ground is a facility that also needs constant team support every hour of every day.
I'm Staff Sergeant James. I'm the facility manager here at Alpha 01 facility. And I I manage this facility on the top side, especially on a daily basis. Absolutely. We have a chef here. We have security forces here. We have me as the facility manager. The chef prepares food for everybody living at the MAF at any given time. And as a facility manager, I make sure that all the systems are running correctly, and I make sure that everybody is having a good time and making sure that also the place stays clean and orderly.
On a day like today, there's lots that is going on here. Extra to just what you talked about. How do you manage that?
It's a day-by-day basis. Some days we don't have very many visitors here to the MAF, and some days we have a lot. It's a team effort between me and the security forces here on the top side to determine who can handle what at any given time. It's based time management and making sure everything gets done that needs to get done.
So how do you find yourself in Wyoming?
I find myself in Wyoming because I applied for the job and this is where they sent me, but I'm so happy to be in Wyoming. I love the culture and the landscape, the weather. I actually do love it.
Let's go inside and look around.
Absolutely.
All right. Staff Sergeant, we've come inside a fitness center, which might be a surprise out in the middle of the Wyoming prairie.
Absolutely. Physical fitness, mental fitness, and emotional fitness are very important to the Air Force as a whole. And we incorporate that into our daily lives here at the Missile Alert Facility by providing a gym and giving everybody the opportunity, because we're here days on end, to be able to maintain physical fitness.
The missileers who we'll talk to in a different segment of the program maybe are only here for 24 hours and they're gone. You and others are here for much longer periods of time at times.
Yes, I'm here for anywhere as much as 3 to 5 days at a time on a normal basis. And so having a gym accessible to keep my physical fitness ready is very important to me. As you enter the MAF, you immediately see the SEC door, security controller's office. Not allowed to pass there with any electronic devices, but as you go into the main part of the MAF here, yes, we try to maintain a home feel lifestyle out here at the MAF, because once again, the security forces members, me, the facility manager, and the chef are out here for days on end, and being away from our families can be taxing. So we have a television, we have couches, we have tables, we have a pool table as well. Many different things to occupy some of the downtime that we experience.
And your sleeping quarters are another part of this building.
Absolutely. Yes, we sleep here, we eat here, everything is done here at the facility at all times. At every missile facility, we have facility managers, chefs, security forces, and the combat crew. We all work as a team, everybody pulling their own weight to create the mission as it goes forward. That global lethality and that missile deterrence system that we have set up is only possible because of the teamwork that we have here at these MAFs.
As you can imagine, security at MAF sites, ICBM launch sites, and the Air Force Base is highly prioritized. Suffice it to say, a quick and lethal response to any security threat is always on the mind of FE Warren security forces, and our cameras watch live ammo training simulations, as you'll see now.
I am Staff Sergeant Cody Wiesler. I'm from upstate New York, and I've been in the military of the Air Force for about 4 years now, just over, and I'm part of the 890th Missile Security Forces Squadron. Our mission in the squadron is to provide a quick armed response to any situations that we may encounter out here in the missile complex. For the wing, ICBMs is our main mission. So we have the reliability, capability, and ability to maintain the deterrence for our nation.
So tell me, who's responsible for your daily security plan? How does that work?
So I'm not sure how to speak on that, but when it comes to our daily activities, it's going to be us as security forces members. We're the ones out here doing the groundwork and ensuring that the missile complex and what we are guarding is safe overall. We're the ones responding to any situations that we may encounter.
Tell us how you train.
So every day we are doing training while we're staying out here at the missile complex. We're doing things such as clearing rooms, ensuring that our tactics are as lethal as they can be. And then also when we're back on base, we're doing things such as making sure that we're confident in our driving in our Humvees and the tactical abilities that we can bring to those Humvees. We focus a lot of our training around just being able to recapture any ICBMs that we may encounter. So what I can talk about is that we're always up to date on any adversaries that we may encounter stateside, and we kind of try to tailor our training to those needs. We're usually out here from anywhere from 3 to 5 days. We cover about 96,000 square miles, and we're pulling a 24-hour alert, 12-hour shifts, and we're out here about half the year. Along with this missile alert facility, we also provide security for over 150 launch facilities. So within those 96,000 square miles, there are multiple different facilities that we also are responsible for. So our job is important because without us, we can't maintain that nuclear deterrence that we have. Without us, again, that we are more vulnerable to any attacks, either CONUS or even overseas.
So I'm Staff Sergeant Lazarescu with the 90th Security Support Squadron Tactical Response Force. I'm originally from Southern California, actually, and I found myself here in Wyoming. This is my first base that I was assigned upon the completion of tech school. So our mission with the Tactical Response Force is to provide nuclear recapture and recovery, as well as emergency services teams. For nuclear recapture and recovery, anywhere that a nuclear weapon is employed, stored, or transported, should an adversary try to take it, our job is to go back and stop them and to reclaim that nuclear weapon. As far as the emergency services team, anything such as active shooter, hostage situation, anything of that nature is a capability that we provide. So as far as training, we have several training locations such as a fake launch facility or a fake building that we call the shoot house. So what we do is for the fake launch facilities, we train the entire recapture process from start to finish, getting to the site, getting on site, securing the area. For the building that we designate shoot house, it's basically a fake building, has fake rooms and such. We practice there every week. We practice clearing it out with opposition forces in it, without them in it. And the amount that we train and what we train on is what gives us that capability to provide that emergency services team.
You train with live ammunition.
As far as live ammunition, yes, we do. We train a few times a month at our shooting range that we have. We do several drills that really enhance our skills. We also do train with simunition rounds, which are basically paint-tipped rounds. Those we can actually use inside of our shoot house and at our fake launch facilities, which the more realistic we can get it, the better off we are.
People may not understand that your mission is 24/7, 365.
Absolutely, it is. Security and defense of these nuclear weapons cannot stop. It has to be constant. Because of the destructive nature of these nuclear weapons, they have to be safeguarded. We cannot let anyone who is not supposed to touch them have access to them.
What's a normal day for your units?
Normal day for us at the Tactical Response Force, we show up in the morning. Once everyone is at our building and accounted for, we decide what we want to train on for the day. We grab our weapons, we grab our equipment, and we head out and train for the day. We stay on base unless we're needed out here in the missile field. The individuals that do stay out here are what we refer to as TAC squadron members. Tactics do absolutely change. We want to stay as modern as we can. We want to have the upper hand on any adversaries. So yes, they do change. How often it just depends. But we always are trying to improve ourselves, improve our skill set, and learn new things. For some people like myself, this was my very first assignment. When I first was stationed at this base, I was stationed in the 90th Missile Security Forces Squadron, which is the squadron that trips out to the field and stays out here for several days, the ones that provide the frontline security. I did that job for about 3 years, and then I was able to transfer over to the Tactical Response Force. So you can have people coming fresh out of technical training, coming straight here. You can have guys that have been in several years coming from other bases, or such as overseas. Some people do deploy and then they do end up coming here. It's really wherever the Air Force needs them.
Maintenance of classified complex communication systems is an important component of an always ready ICBM force, and the maintenance team at FE Warren's trains, troubleshoots, and makes certain the incredible array of communication systems is always at the ready.
I'm Senior Airman Croft. I'm a Missile Maintenance Team Chief here at Missile Communications. What we're looking at here is the antenna pedestal assembly for our extremely high frequency satellite communication system. So this provides satellite communications for the capsule via satellite in space. What we do mainly for maintenance here at our level, it would be the motors, elevation and azimuth motors, which provide positioning for the satellite, which has to be very precise in order to speak to something hundreds of miles away. So the system will automatically notify capsule of what errors will pop up, and then it's our job to go out there. We go out there with equipment and troubleshoot the issue and narrow it down to what component we need to replace. So we are in charge of 15 of these antennas, as well as our trainer, which is behind me. We train on this system. It's identical to the ones that are out in the field, which helps provide us with that reoccurring training to keep our knowledge up to date on changes. So we're responsible for maintaining various communication systems within the capsule, such as satellite, radio, and wired communications for those capsule crew members. Our main priority is to ensure that communication is provided to those capsule crew members, no matter the circumstances, no matter what's asked of them, that when the message comes through that they're able to answer it within a timely manner and execute the order.
I'm Technical Sergeant Smith. I am the Missile Communications Maintenance Supervisor here at F.E. Warren Air Force Base. Overall, our role in the ICBM maintenance is to ensure that the missiles across all three wings are on alert and capable of executing an order if given. The maintenance on the Minuteman III weapon system is divided into basically three main career fields. You have those that handle the missiles and the reentry systems. You have those that take care of the facilities, and you have those that, like us, that handle the electronic systems. For the electronic systems, that mostly covers your security systems and your command and control systems, the ability for the capsule crews to send commands to the missiles themselves. So the day-to-day maintenance actions play a crucial role in ensuring that these missiles launch when given the order to, and they also help ensure that they don't launch when we don't want them to, because once they're launched, they cannot be recalled.
Funding for this program was provided by the members of the Wyoming PBS Foundation. Thank you for your support.